You've tamed the voices in your head. You've put your courage to the test. Laid all your doubts to rest.
Hi everyone, and welcome from your intuition queen to a new episode of Intuitive Queens podcast. Okay, so I've been going on with a series of colors, and we only have 2 left to complete the series of colors that I normally use in color therapy when I'm doing a color therapy session and when I'm working with my clients with colors, because those are the main colors we use to related to your energies. But I'm breaking this off for a moment because I have a very, very special guest, and what she talks about, what she's about, it's also related to colors. So I thought this was a great moment to actually complete the series where there are also chakras involved, and then have a break, and then I will be talking about the last 2 colors, which is gold and magenta. This episode was recorded in September 2021 and was meant to actually be live in January, but I was waiting for some confirmation, so this had to be postponed. It's been quite a long while since I actually recorded this, and I want you to pay attention because I always talk about energies and how energies play out. So when I recorded this, I was not in a good place, and I want you to see, if you've been following me, how my energy has changed from the old episodes to the latest one, especially from the new year, especially the ones related to colors, because those are the freshest one. And I want you to listen carefully on what Katie says about colors. I'm going to give it away. She works with flowers, and this is so amazing. Flowers, colors, energies. What better can you have? I want you to notice when we talk about how I feel about and see the progression of energies, because as you know, I love talking about energies and I love talking about colors. And we always go through moments that are not exactly the best for us. They're not exactly the one we want, where we feel a little bit low. This was my case in September, but you can definitely see how my energy is different right now. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can actually see my face as well. So enjoy this episode. It's mind-blowing what Katie talks about, and the energy of flowers and our energy, the energy of ourselves and the planet, and how we are all so connected. Enjoy the episode. Hi everyone, and welcome from your intuition queen to a new episode of Intuitive Queens podcast. Today I have a guest that will blow your mind. Her name is Katie Hess, and she's a flower alchemist, author of The Flower Revolution, and a founder of Lotuswei. Hi Katie, welcome.
Hi Mara, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
I am very happy to have you, and I am so curious to hear your story about how you connected to your intuition and everything that you do about flowers, because I was checking you out. I was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. And I took your test and I was like so blown away. So I'm super, super excited also because flowers are colorful. I do color therapy. So you can just imagine how happy I am to have you.
Yes, this is going to be such a fun conversation.
So tell us your connection with your intuition. How did that come about? Were you always intuitive, or is that something that came through as you went on your journey?
I mean, I guess in the beginning, it started as sort of like an impulse or a drive or a compulsion to do something. So like if I go back to the past, like I remember, being 7 years old and just having this like feeling that was so frustrating. Like I'm living in a small town, I'm an only child. I need to find my community and my people, and I need to do this like big project, but I don't know what it is. And so, at the time I would try to like lay in bed and astrally project myself somewhere else to where I needed to be so that I could do what I needed to do, which I didn't know what it was, right? So, I mean, I think from a young age, it was more like a compulsion or a drive to do something. And so I pretty much just kind of stuffed it until I graduated college. I had an auntie that taught me about the healing power of music and energy medicine and hands-on healing and Reiki type of healing. which intrigued me. And so when I graduated from college or the university, I was like, okay, I have to search a little bit more because what I've schooled in isn't it. And
Yeah.
I want to find something to be able to help people reach their full potential, because I looked around me and I felt like so many of us were being held back by self-limitation, that we weren't truly free on the inside.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's interesting that you have a whole podcast around intuition, because that's like at the core of everything
Yeah.
I do, everything that's ever motivated me to move forward, or that's been successful. It's so important that we listen to that.
Oh
And
my God, yes. Yes.
basically it boils down to, I eventually ended up meeting an expert in flower essences from Madrid, Spain. And he taught me about the incredible healing power of flowers. And I thought, holy moly, I could devote the rest of my life to this. There's no end to it. It's like infinite learning and healing. And that if we could get 3% of the world's population to actively be working with these remedies, energetically, it would create enough momentum and ripple effect that it would change the outcome of the future of this planet. And so that, not only did it feel like this massive vision, it also felt like kind of doable. Like, you know, we didn't need 100%. We didn't need the whole world. We just needed the small percent. And so from there, I came back to the United States and started, you know, kind of a 20-year journey of exploring and learning and working. And it all boils down to intuition and just following intuition. Yeah.
Well, you know, I'm just all about that. So of course, yes to everything that you said. I think, you know, because we have been taught that we shouldn't listen to ourselves, but we should listen to everything else. It's now very difficult for everybody to understand how to connect. Even, you know, we have that connection already, but we turn it off for so many reasons. And even with my clients, oftentimes the question is, how do I connect to my intuition? I'm like, but you should know because you have it. But it just because we've been shut down from a young age to our own power that this is happening. So I'm always very happy to have conversation about it from different perspectives, because it's kind of saying to everybody, hey, maybe my way of listening to my intuition is not what you resonate, but maybe my guest does resonate with you. So just giving a lot of different perspective, a lot of different stories, so then people can relate and be like, okay, I kind of want to change my life, heal myself, and do something.
Yeah, and I can definitely share from my experience what have been my windows or doorways into a deeper sense of intuition, and then also what the challenges are, what the obstacles.
Oh yes, please.
I would say, I mean, because if you're basically talking to a person who talks to flowers, right?
I absolutely love that.
I mean, that's like a, you know, and I can explain more about how that works. And if you have skeptics in your crowd, that's awesome. I love skeptics, and I love critical thinking. We need more of it. But I mean, intuition is at the basis of everything I do. And I think in the beginning, we're afraid of looking like fools, or we're afraid of being stupid, or we're afraid of being what do you call that? Imposter. Or we're afraid that, like, if we hear a voice in our head, we think like, maybe I'm making it up.
That's right.
Maybe I'll lead people astray. Maybe I'll fool other people. Maybe I will lead people to some like terrible outcome. Maybe I'll create something bad. Right. So all of those are like these weird little obstacles. But the way that I have found my way around that is mostly to spend more time in nature and to allow that really childlike essence, wonder, play, openness, curiosity to take root in my being more. So like, if you think about, let's just do like a little exercise. Did you grow up in Italy?
Yep.
Okay, so tell me about a time in your childhood when you played around flowers or trees or plants. And then maybe
Uh,
like one favorite flower that you had and what you were doing and who you were with.
it would be when I was going down south to see my mom's family, because my uncle lives in the countryside, so he has this big house surrounded by all kind of flowers. And yeah, that's where probably I was most connected to nature. Flowers as a child, I don't know.
Or like a tree or a plant.
Oh yeah, a fig tree. I love to go up on the fig tree because they had this beautiful. Yeah, I just used to that or the bay tree because they had so many flowers, but also beautiful big trees. And I used to climb them, and yeah, I just really loved it.
So if you could describe the personality or the essence or the feeling that you got when you look at a fig tree, how would you describe it in 3 words if it had a personality?
um, Fun,
Mm-hmm.
loving,
Yeah.
um, creative. Oh, that's weird. I've never done that before. Yeah.
Okay, so this particular exercise, usually the way that you would describe your favorite from childhood, it actually reflects back to you.
Yeah, I was thinking about that because I basically talked about me.
We really talked about you, yeah. It's you're fun, you're loving, and you're creative.
Yeah,
Or that would be like the way that you bring your greatest gifts into the world. So like as your podcast,
completely. Yeah,
it's fun, you're loving, it's creative.
yeah,
But like even just to get in that mindset of like remembering what it was like to climb those trees, it's like this childlike wonder, like everything's so
yeah.
magical.
The adventure, the also the managing to getting up and coming down or looking from. I love whenever I'm on top of something and I can see through whatever. So that for me was another thing because there is nothing.
The
There's
perspective.
just another, other fields. So for me, looking far and imagining how far I could go in my life, yeah, that was the thing. Oh yeah, oh my God, you just brought me back to something I never thought about. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's like all of that is like rich in intuition. It's rich in experience. I mean, nobody when you're a kid teaches us how to climb trees. We just
Yeah,
climb, like
yeah,
intuitive, action or experience. And so um if people are looking to develop their intuition more, I recommend spending more time in nature and trying to like put on that lens of a child, like look at the way the insects move or the tree grows. And
mm,
when you open up that like sense of wonder, some of those obstacles around like being silly or foolish get quieter.
yeah. That's so true. I think nature is the best place where you can tune into yourself because there's nothing, there's just beauty. And if you look around, that makes you happy just looking at it. So that's when you connect to yourself. I remember I realized that nature made me feel good when I was working here. I was in my 20s and I was working advertising, and it was very stressful. And I remember that going to the park on lunchtime, the moment I will get inside the park, I will feel immediately relief. And I started to notice, I'm like, oh my God, this is a thing. And that's how I started to spend more time in nature and connecting myself a little bit more. But then it took me a little while to trust it. But yeah, absolutely. I think nature is super powerful as a place to connect to yourself and to your intuition. Absolutely.
And then if you don't have enough time to be in nature, or you don't have the ability, or you live in a city, the next best alternative, I would say, is to somehow bring the flower essences into your life, into your daily life, into your espresso, your coffee, your water, whatever you're consuming, to like continue to open those doors inside you, because we're subject to so many invisible waves from cell phones and computers and satellite that disturbs our electromagnetic field, disturbs our body's energy. And so it can make us feel anxious
Yeah.
or unsettled. And if we don't have that time to be able to escape the city and go out to a place where there's no cell phone connection, which is actually quite rare these days, right?
Yeah, it is. It is.
We
You
can
really
then,
have to make an effort not to be
yeah,
on those devices, because or we do everything with it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then as a support, we can bring flower essences into our daily life to help us find some of that balance again.
Oh, I will let you talk about more, but before we get into what you do and how flower can connect to you and can help you, I'm curious to understand when you started your journey, um, how was your environment and your family? Did you feel supported, or did you feel like this was your calling, you were gonna do it, and it didn't matter what happened around?
Oh, I mean, in some ways, my family has always been supportive in the sense like I've been very independent. And so when I was 16, I wanted to be an exchange student to Germany for a year. And they fully supported me leaving for a year when I was so young.
That's
And
amazing.
then same when I was 21, I left to go to live in Spain for a year. So in some ways, they've been very supportive of just like my general independence. But I would say that like truly understanding what I was doing took a very long time in terms of the flower essences. So when I came back to the United States and I started a business in flower essences, I think they were very skeptical for many years.
Right, yeah.
Years. You know, does it really work? What are you up to? Is that really the best choice of, you know, what you're going to do for the rest of your life? Will you be successful? You know, because people, they sort of project their own doubts on you.
Yeah.
So, you know, and in the beginning it was hard. Like I've put groceries on credit cards in the very beginning because I didn't have enough money. So it takes so much effort. And so I'm sure they had their doubts. I'm sure they kind of watched from afar and wondered what I was up to. But at that point, I wouldn't let anyone stop me.
So what was that thing that was pulling you towards flowers and starting your business anyway? Like like it feels to me you had this inner knowing that it didn't matter what happened around you, you were gonna go and do this.
It's because I saw the results. I mean, and especially like when I started my business in Mexico. So it started there. And then one morning I woke up and I was like, I'm in the wrong place. I mean, talk about intuition. I literally woke up one morning and was like, I'm in the wrong place.
I know the feeling. I had that with London. It took me more than a day to move out, but I had that with London. I had a love relationship until I had no, I need to break up with you. Yeah.
Same. I was living with a man in an apartment in Mexico and Querétaro, and I was just like, this is it. I gotta go. So when I went back to the States and I started seeing more and more and more people and clients, it was astonishing. I mean, people would come in, you know, with a list of like 10 or 15 things that were making them miserable or, you know, having them suffer. It's making them feel hopeless or disturbing them. And I would make a little bottle of flower essences and they would come back every 3 weeks. And in most cases, within 3 weeks, I could see a tremendous difference in their face and their body language and the stories that they spoke. And if they stayed with me, typically a client would stay for anywhere from like 6 months to a year. I could really see a tremendous, not only change in the beginning and how they felt on the inside,
Right.
but it was long enough to see that the change on the inside reflected to the outside. And so their outer world would change, their jobs, their relationships, their, you know, everything in the outer reality. And from that point, I became extremely devoted, you know, that I could say, okay, for the rest of my life, I have to do this because I'm seeing this in these individuals. Everyone should experience this. And also I was looking at, you know, Americans in the United States, it's terrible how many people are taking pharmaceuticals, antidepressants, anti-anxiety, children taking ADHD medications, right? So many side effects and weight gain, and leads to so many problems and addictions and sleeping pills, and like it just leads you down a spiral of unhealth. And here I was with something natural, seeing people just like transform within, like in front of my eyes, within like a few weeks. It was like, I must reach people all over the world. I cannot limit this to just the people that I can see with my own body.
Yeah.
So it was at that point that I decided I have to figure out how to be an entrepreneur, how to start a company, how to make products, and how to reach more people.
So tell us, what did you do?
Oh, I mean, then that just became a whole other like adventure of what should I make and where should I sell it and who wants it and where will people find me and how will I reach people internationally. And I made plenty of mistakes. And, you know, I think the first 5 years of my business, I worked 7 days a week, no day off, till I could have a day off. And did everything from local farmers markets to spa events to health food store kind of things. I mean, I literally just threw everything at the wall and tried everything. And then online business is, you know, really, I think where we gained a lot of traction, and it's so helpful to reach people all over the world.
Yeah.
And that just started a whole other journey. I mean, now we have like hundreds of elixirs and different types of products, and we work with aromatherapy and bath salts and all different kinds of things that we provide to people through online shopping or doctors, acupuncturists, spas, resorts. We've built a lot of relationships with people, and we just keep continuing to find flowers from all over the world, really, that are what we most need today. So like on Saturday, a couple days ago, we released a new product that I feel most everybody needs right now today. So like as different world events and things happen, we just keep releasing new blends and formulas.
Amazing. Okay, so tell us, how does that work? So how do you know what are the properties of flowers? How do you know what they do? How tell us a little bit, because this is just so intriguing. I'm so hooked to this.
It's all intuition. It's all your theme. It's all your topic. So I mean, there are some books about flower essences, but it's not really a well-known thing. And I also don't like to read books about flower essences because I prefer to just access the information directly from the plant. And that's the way that the herbalists have always done it, right? Is they use their intuition.
Yes.
Some people think that, oh, well, it's because people just like ate all the different plants, and when someone would die, they would remember that, you know. I don't believe that, actually. I mean, maybe 1 or 2 times that would happen in a community, but more so, I believe that when we're in touch with nature, our intuition is so heightened. And I know this from my own personal experience.
Yeah.
There are certain plants that you just don't want to even go near. And then later you realize they're poisonous, right? So it's almost like the body has a wisdom that is so amplified that our intellectual mind may not even comprehend and understand how powerful we are in that way.
Well, it's a matter of energy. You know, they say your energetic field and my energetic field, if we meet, we might like each other, or we might not like each other because there is something on an energy level that maybe doesn't resonate with us, or it does. And I guess with the flowers, it's exactly the same thing. Like when you really are tuning into yourself, then you're able to scan the room and scan the place you're in and understand which flower is good for you, which one is not.
Yeah. And flowers and plants are always seeking to amplify your perfection. Like your strengths may also be your weaknesses. And so, you know, which is like so ironic, right?
Yeah.
of life. And so the flowers and nature and the plants will amplify your strengths and what you're really good at.
Mm-hmm.
So you can overcome that weakness, and also so you can be here who you're here to be, and to be of service to humanity. So you'll always be drawn to those particular flowers that will amplify your own beauty and strength and special sauce in a sense.
Ah, I love that. So how does that work exactly? If I buy a couple of flowers, or like I did before, I take a test and it tells me, oh, this is your energy and those are the flowers you're supposed to take. So however one person does it, then how would you use it?
Yeah, so there are many different forms. We have like the traditional way of taking it is taking it in the mouth with the
Mhm.
dropper, or you can add it to your beverages. In the olden days and ancestor days, people would drink the dewdrops from the tops of flowers.
Uh-huh.
That was the original way. So this is like taking the dew and putting it in a bottle in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very easy. There's no scent. You just take it internally. And it works through your energetic system, through your acupuncture meridians, like the same meridians Chinese doctors have been using for like 3,000 to 5,000 years. And then we also use aromatherapy. So, early on in the beginning, 20 years ago, at least in the United States, people did not understand energy medicine at all.
Mm-hmm.
So one way to get it to them was to introduce it with aromatherapy.
Right.
So we have like mists and oils you can put on you that are like perfume, and things you can put on your body that smell good.
Yeah.
So then you get that like sensuous, like smell good feeling, but then also the like electricity or energetics from the flower essences are working underneath.
Mm. Oh, that is so beautiful. I need to try this because I love it. And I'm curious now because I do color therapy, and colors have a lot of meanings and they're related to your energy. So I wonder if all of the flowers of the same color would kind of have a similar energy, or are they different because obviously they're from different parts of the world, and maybe they grew in different kind of environment.
I would say like there isn't like a hard fast rule, and there are certainly a lot of exceptions. But from experience, yeah, like a lot of the pinks and reds have to do with themes of, well, let's say pink. Pink oftentimes has a lot to do with love, self-care, gentleness, tenderness, belonging, like that. And reds can be similar to pink, or they can go more in the direction of like energy, boldness, expansion, fearlessness. Let's see. Yellow, like sunshine, can be helpful for like simplicity and confidence, like stomach area, digestion.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I definitely see
Yeah.
like even look at white flowers. White flowers typically grow at night by the light of the moon, and they're pollinated by moths rather than bees.
Okay.
And that's more about like shadow side, like things that you don't know are there, like how you feel about death or change, or things that you don't like about yourself, or things you consider weaknesses. Oftentimes white flowers will illuminate those types of things. Does
Right.
that match up with color therapy?
It does. Yeah, it does. Although I don't use white because it's the rainbow color plus gold in the color therapy. But yeah, they do. Absolutely. I was very curious because I obviously I'm always like very much attuned to my colors, which is pink, purple, and orange. Um, but it's interesting, and of course it's all interconnected, so no no surprise there, but I'm always very interested to see how far the interconnection goes. Every time I meet someone that does something similar that might match what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I kind of want to give something to the audience because this is so amazing what you do. Would you have an exercise or anything else that people at home can try to do to get in tune with the flowers and at the same time get in tune with their intuition?
Yeah, I mean, something really simple like what we just did, but a little different. So we'll just do it with you, and then your
Okay.
listeners can follow along. And that is to tell me about a flower that really intrigues you today. Something that you just love. You see it, it's like, oh, not from childhood. It's today that you just like, oh, you love it. It's so interesting or beautiful.
I don't even know how to say this. You know the daisies, but not the white ones, the colorful ones. I don't think they're called daisies. I just
Gerber
don't know.
daisies?
Yes, that one. I just don't know the English name. Yeah, I love those.
And then describe that flower in 3 words, like its personality, not using color or scent.
Fresh,
Mm-hmm.
uh, intriguing,
Mm-hmm.
sensual.
Okay, and if you're listening to the podcast right now and you don't have a chance to write these down, you're gonna have to stop it because you don't want to know the secret. I'm gonna tell you. First, before though, is what does fresh mean to you?
I guess it means free.
Free.
Yeah.
So the way that you describe your favorite flower from today, or something that really interests you, are qualities within yourself that you are looking to experience more or develop.
Okay.
So,
Yes, you got me there.
so you may be exploring like freedom, just in a general sense. Like, what does it feel like to be free? When do I feel free? When do I not feel free? When do I feel like I'm intriguing to other people? Or when do I feel intrigued by life? And when do I feel like apathetic and bored, or like none of this is interesting to me? Like, looking at the different polarities.
Right.
And then also exploring the world of being sensual, which is like, very different from sexual.
Yeah.
Sensual is
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
tasting, smelling, touching, texture. Am I like full body, whole body experiencing life? Or is there some part of me that's a little bit numb or turned off or shut off because I'm afraid? So like, how if, for example, if you were my client and just based on this exercise alone, I would say, oh, okay, well, let's look at flowers that can bring out this sense of exploring sensuality and all the senses, perception, and a sense of being intrigued by everything around you and feeling that you are intriguing to the world, and also this sense of freedom.
Oh, I love this so much. And yes, everything that you said, it's like, as I said to you, I'm in this transitional period of my life where I left London after 12 years and I am temporarily staying with my mom. So yes, I want my freedom. I want to do all my things where I can, create everything that I want. And so this is where I'm at the moment, and exactly everything that I want, I'm kind of like working towards. Yes, absolutely. Oh, this is so fantastic. Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Katie. That's amazing. I think you guys have to go and check her out because this is so powerful.
Can I tell
Okay.
you what I would recommend?
Yes.
If I were just gonna like sum it up to one flower, there's many. I could tell you so many flowers. But if I were gonna just say one flower, and maybe you take a look at it online and see if you feel like it looks interesting to you or not, or
Okay.
even if it like looks a little bit scary when you look at it, because sometimes when it's like, ugh, that's also a good
Okay.
sign. And it's a flower called wild delphinium. And we use this flower in a blend that we have called luscious embodiment.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, all of those things that you mentioned is like embracing all of the sides of yourself, like fierce and fiery and boundaries and angry is okay and sensual and beautiful and luscious, all of those things inside of yourself. So when you get a chance, look at the wild delphinium and see what you think of that
I'll
flower.
do that as soon as we finish the podcast. Oh, I love this. I think this is so empowering and so amazing. And it really shows how our energy can say so much about us, and everything that we are surrounded by, everything that we pick and we choose really says so much about us. And also that if we are aware, we can pick and choose the best thing for us. And I'm not going to say the right thing for us, because we're always changing. So what's right now might not be right for us like in a week or more. But it really shows you how being connected to yourself and with everything around us can really empower you to make the right decision for that moment, and allow you to tune in with whatever feeling that you're looking for to get or to release or anything else.
Yeah, I mean, and I love flowers for that reason, because it teaches us intuition. It teaches us how effortless that it is. I mean, like, whether it's the quiz that you can take on our website, or we have like a card deck or a book that you can, pick out the different flowers that you're drawn to. Once you see what those flowers are and they mirror back to you exactly what's happening on the inside in almost like a shocking way, then you realize, wow, intuition is effortless. It's really no like working at it. I really just move to what I think is the most beautiful in that moment. And that's intuition already happening.
Yeah,
It's
completely. Yeah.
it's innate within us. It's not something I mean, sure, maybe work at trusting it more.
Yeah.
It's there. It's always
Yeah.
there.
It's always there. Yeah. Well, the trust is the big thing, right? Like, you can feel it. You can maybe even say to yourself, I know I'm right, but then you might not feel good enough to follow it, or you might be surrounded by so many people that tell you that you shouldn't, that at some point you just give up. But that doesn't mean that you don't have it. We all have it. And it's just a matter of practicing to tune in and to listen and to trust and to actually take action on what you feel. And sometimes it's something very simple, and that can help you. Tuning into a flower, it's a very simple thing, and nothing will change in your life, in the bad or in the good. Well, probably in the good, but if anything, nothing changes. It stays the same. You just got a very beautiful flower that gives you some sort of emotion, and that's it.
Yeah, I was gonna say another another thing people can do for intuition too is to just look backwards in their life and see what types of decisions we made, how we made them, and what decisions led to something really powerful and positive, and which ones like took us off. Because sometimes, especially in the world of like romantic relationships, we think it's intuition, but it's actually more based on like comfort or attachment or sense of familiarity, or like, I feel like I've known this person before.
Yeah.
Which may feel like intuition, but it can also be like a red flag.
Yeah.
So if you look back at all of the best things or decisions that you made in your life, there may have been a certain like feeling or awareness associated with it, versus when things went off, there's a certain like feeling associated with that. And so then when things arise in today land, in the now, we can kind of look at our bodies as a tool. Am I in which state am I in?
Yes. Oh yeah, this is so beautiful. Actually, I don't think I ever thought about it that way. So it's actually smelling and remembering, feeling how you felt when you made the right choice. Yeah, it's actually really powerful. It can open up to so much more, because when you tune into that part of yourself that is in alignment, you just get more into alignment.
I had a teacher that told me once, when you're making decisions, there's like many things going on in your head, right? And the way to know if you're making a really good decision is if you feel like 500% without question, like, I'm going to do this.
Mm-mm.
That's a yes. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
But if you find yourself going, should I do this? Should I not do this? Should I do this? Should I not do this? Then don't do it. Just wait until you get to the point where you're like, yes, I'm doing this. There's no question about it. No one can change my mind.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I would add is if you find that you're like, yes, I'm doing this, but there's a bit of like, because I need this, or because I won't be okay if I don't do it, or because it's comforting, then we know that's also leading us out of off path.
Yeah, the
So
attachment.
the best thing is when it feels so natural to you and so unquestionable that no one could stop you from doing it. And if you're in the weighing pros and cons, then just wait until you get to that clear point.
Yes.
That's like really, really helpful for making decisions, especially if you're Pisces like me. We're notoriously bad at making decisions.
I'm a water sign too. I'm a Cancer. So, you know, it's all about the feelings and the feeling good and the intuition, but sometimes it's just about the feeling. And when you get into the feeling and you feel good and you want to feel good, that's when you make the decisions. No, but yeah, I think, you know, doing this job, this work, and for so many years, and working on tuning into my intuition more and more and more, has helped me to understand that I need to manage my emotions first, and then tune into myself, and then eventually take a decision. Otherwise, yeah, as you said, you can easily go off track. Yeah.
Huge difference between emotion and intuition, right?
Oh yes. Oh yes. And it felt, you know, and then that's the confusion sometimes, because especially when you're feeling so good, you might be so all over the place because you're feeling so good and everything feels so good, and then you make a decision and then you regret it because you were just taken in the moment. And the same is when you're angry or upset, and as you said, you might make a decision out of attachment rather than, or fear rather than intuition. So it's always what I've learned very well. And it's always better to stop, tune in, relax. I do a lot of meditation because that, or a lot of journaling, because those are the two things. If I cannot go out in nature, and living in London for so many years, the rain was like always a thing. So I was like, okay, so I'm just gonna stay in and just journal and create my own sacred space and just tune into myself. But that was very helpful. Really learning to understand who I am and how I function, because then you can also connect and be like, no, when I'm in that state, it's better if I don't do anything. It's about learning to understand yourself and get to know yourself, really.
Absolutely. And I think one of the best methods for accessing is to take that quiet time, like you said, to be able to sit quietly, to be able to spend time with yourself, to be quiet without distraction, without phone, without, you know, even if it's just 5 minutes. To me, intuition feels more like I've taken a break, I've created space. It's like space in between the thoughts. And those moments when you feel so quiet, then sometimes like boom, something like a light turns on or an idea like jumps in. That to me feels more like closer to intuition than emotion, because it comes from where? It comes from space, from your own wisdom. It just like arises naturally, it self arises.
Yeah.
And that type of intuition seems to be the hardest to trust, but also the most powerfully positive outcome.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But in fact, you know, a lot of people say, oh, I had a great idea when I was in the shower or when I was taking a walk. Yeah, because you're relaxed, you're not thinking about stuff.
Right.
You're just thinking about, you know, I had a day, so I just want to wash everything over and just enjoy this nice, I don't know, shower gel that I just got from, the flower from you and whatever, and just, tune into, get that moment for myself, right? And then all of a sudden you start to have those, you get an answer to a question that you've been having maybe for a week. Or the same, a lot for me happens if I'm walking around. I absolutely love walking, but if I'm walking in nature, even more, because you're there, you're looking at the trees, and you're like, at least that's what I do. I look at the trees, and I look at the birds, and I look at the flowers, and I take pictures. And because you're distracted, then that's when your intuition can really come through and be like, okay, here is the answer you've been asking for a week. But now, because you're not stressing over it, I can give it to you. And then it makes more sense because you can feel it differently.
Right. Yeah, it's like a never-ending world of discovery. That's pretty much why I fell in love with flower essences, because it's about the flowers, but it's not really about the flowers. It's actually about each one of us as human beings, and how complex and wildly different and interesting and never ending this process of personal growth is.
Yeah, that's one thing you learn very quickly. But yes, absolutely. You said something earlier. You said you talk to the flowers.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about this. How do you talk? Like, do you talk to the flowers when you want to have answers from your intuition, or you just talk to the flowers all the time because they are living elements? And
Yeah. Okay. So both. I mean, in the moment, I think I meant it like, if I'm going to collect a particular essence of a flower, and I'm very clear in my intention, I'm going to make this available for human beings to consume and grow and evolve from. Then I'm, I will have made that very clear within myself and to the plant world and to the Mother Earth. I'm going to collect you as this flower essence. If you want to be of service to humanity, I will spread you everywhere, far and wide. So I'm telling the plant that. And then in terms of collecting a flower essence, then I'm sitting on the earth, my body is on the earth, my hands are in the earth, and I'm requesting healing from this particular flower, and to show me what is it for, because things change, and you can't read everything from a book, and I prefer to just get it directly from Mother Earth. Is 4.5 billion years old, so there is a tremendous library of wisdom we can access if we want to, if we ask. So I ask the earth to instruct me about this particular flower and this specific healing benefit that comes from this particular flower at this time, in this place, in this ground and country, place, now. And then also, please make the words appear in my head, make me hear the words that I need to communicate to the people that I will reach, so that they understand it. Tell me in a way that I can write down notes and communicate it back to my community so they understand and connect to it.
Right.
And then I sit with the flower and just write and write and write and write and write and write. That's where the intuition process comes in, because you want to trust, but then you can also double check. So then we, give the flower elixir to 100 to 150 people who don't know so much about what it's for, and just to test it and make sure that everything I collected and information I got is correct. Does that make sense?
I love this process. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Of course it does. Yeah. I think it's so beautiful, and it really shows how Mother Nature, it's really our information for everything, and connecting to her. It's so, so powerful, and you're never going to get it wrong, because, that's like part of us. And the flowers are there to help us to raise our vibration and feel better. As you said earlier, if we could do it for a tiny bit of people, if everybody could understand that, working on yourself and using flowers or whatever it is, and raising our vibration, the world will be such a much better place. And we will feel so much better about ourselves and the people we are connecting with.
And we tend to ignore things that we can't hear or see. So like the music that's coming from the flowers, we can't hear it. The energy or the aura that's coming from a flower, we can't see it. So we tend to dismiss it as it's really quiet, something in the background. It's not important, right? But also we have things in our lives like cell phones, also quiet, mostly.
Right.
But that are also emitting these frequencies, invisible frequencies through space, but we believe it because we use it. And if you looked at technology, some of the greatest technologies were stolen actually from Mother Nature. So like the lotus, that's called the lotus effect. No dirt or dust can land on any lotus flower or leaf. And they've actually used that technology for aerodynamics. Or like some people have looked, they call it biomimicry. They've looked at like how do leaves fall on the ground, and then developed like a really brilliant method of designing carpet. So there's like sustainability and beauty. So in this field of biomimicry, we're mimicking Mother Nature.
Yeah.
So when people think flowers, they have energy and they can heal people, it may be sort of an out there concept, but when we look at the technologies that exist, that we have today, have always existed on Mother Earth for a very long time.
Yeah.
And just because we can't see it or hear it doesn't mean it's not there.
That's so true. And that's a great example, because you're right. Like we have taken so much from Mother Nature, and Mother Nature is often very quiet, aside from when you have a thunderstorm or things like that. But then, everything else is pretty quiet.
Even to the extent of like, saving the world. I had a spiritual teacher once tell me, he said, like we humans, like we think we're so important. He said, we need to save the planet Earth, and we need to, save the everything. And he was like, humans can't save the Earth. Only trees can save the Earth. And that really kind of blew my mind, because that puts you in a different frame. Like, the Earth at any moment when she wants to, she can have an earthquake, a tsunami, and like kick us off like we're fleas. Nothing.
Yes.
Really, truly, only trees can save the planet. That makes sense.
True. It's true if you think about it. It sounds like so out there, but it's so true if you think about it. Yeah. No, Mother Nature, as you said, can really kick us out any moment. So we really need to respect her.
I forgot to answer the other part of your question, Mara, and I'll just share that now because maybe it will be helpful to your listeners. You also asked about like asking flowers and plants for intuition, or like, the living elements. If you are not making flower essences like I am, you can also tap into these plants and flowers anytime for advice or wisdom or information. You can go to a park on your lunch break or whenever you have free time, like you were talking about going to the park. And you can literally just sit next to a tree or a plant or a flower, anything that calls your attention. And then you can sit for a while, maybe focus on your breathing to get you out of the monkey mind, get yourself into your body. You can visualize that your energy goes deep into the core of the earth, deeper with each exhalation. And then you can ask the plant for information or wisdom or a piece of advice, and you may be surprised at what pops into your brain.
I love this. I'm going to try this and I'll let you know. So you guys do that, and please do send me messages, let me know, and I will share them with Katie, and we'll see what else can come through. I love this so much. Yeah, I love to hug trees when I go out, and I just really love to just sit under them. I feel they're so powerful and the energy is so amazing. Yeah, I love this. We'll try it for sure. All right, Katie, tell us where we can find you if anybody wants to check you out and work with you.
Yeah, so our website is Lotus, like the flower, and then WEI, lotuswei.com. We're on all the social media channels, and you can call us, you can email us. We're always happy to help connect you with a flower or flowers that you need. And yeah, reach out anytime.
Yes, please do, because I think this is so amazing. I am stoked by this.
And if anyone is interested in, so like you can, if you go to our website, you can take the quiz that you took, right, Mara, that tells you, you know, what maybe to start with. We also have a monthly program called the Flower Revolution that essentially is like releasing one elixir, new one each month, that the whole, like, well, the whole collective of anyone living on planet Earth may need right now or
Right.
coming soon in the future. It's kind of like anchoring in a particular energy that all of us need. So that may also be interesting to folks who are into intuition.
Okay. Oh, that's amazing. Definitely go do the quiz, because it really will blow your mind. So let's start with that, and then you'll get all the suggestions what kind of flowers you might need to use. But then again, if you have any other questions, you can just ask Ati and her team, and I'm sure they will direct you in the right place and with the right flowers. If you had to give an advice to the people listening, what would that be?
Oh, let's see. I really want to take time to like pick out something here.
Yeah, go ahead.
For listeners. Okay, so what comes into my mind right now would be, don't edit yourself. Allow yourself to be free in your expression versus holding back, holding in, and repressing. To expect that the world is waiting in open arms to listen to your contribution, your creation, what you make, who you are as a human being. To allow yourself to be just a little more wild and free at your expression. It's going to be okay. Like, we do too much editing of ourselves and keeping in. And when we do that, we prevent the world from having our gifts. So I would say that would be the message that I would convey today is, don't edit yourself. Let it come.
I have chills. I love this message, and I think it's so true. You're right. We edit ourselves so much for whatever it is going on, but if we open up and we just be ourselves, like today I posted something about the color yellow and being, you know, like the sun, magnetic and warm and big and beautiful. Yeah, that's where we all should be pointing at, be ourselves.
Yeah, when you look at flowers, right, they're not like, oh,
No,
should I
exactly.
spray that? Should I do that? They're just like,
Yeah, like, look at how beautiful I am. Absolutely true. Oh my God, Katie, thank you so much for everything that you share with us today. I am so blown away, and I'm sure my audience will be too, because this is something that I personally didn't know about, but your story and everything that you talked about was so amazing to hear.
Thank you so much, Mara. It's such a pleasure to be here. I love the topic of your podcast. It's so perfect. Thank you for everything that you offer.
Thank you so much. Okay, well, I hope you loved this episode as much as I did when I recorded it, and also now just re-watching and re-listening to edit this was just so amazing. And I think what Katie does is so empowering. Go do the quiz. The quiz is so fantastic, and if you love to buy the essence of her flowers, I think they're just so amazing. And you can find me at theintuitionqueen.com, and you can join my group Discovery True Colors. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you loved this episode. Do let me know. Feel free to let me know what you think. You can always message me, and I will see you next time.
Your heart is full and wanting more.
Ciao.
Your future's at the door.